Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. If you are watching this video, then you must be going on a trip. I know I'm excited because we are going to Europe in a week and a half. So I kind of wanted to go through a bunch of different items that I have my computer out here. Hopefully the background noise, by the way, is not too loud. I decided I'd sit outside today. It's about close to 80 degrees here in Southern Oregon, and I thought I might change the scenery up a little bit. Anyway, I want to go over a checklist today of travel items you may or may not think of. Some of them might be reminders, especially if you're going to be gone for a while. You definitely want to take care of these things ahead of time. So the first things to think about are obviously the travel preparation. Renew or at least verify that your passport is up to date. Some countries, I guess, require you to have your passport when you are traveling there, that you have at least 6 months before the expiration is, and give yourself plenty of time, 2 to 3 months minimum before that time. Another thing that you need to do is I'm looking at my computer screen here, reconfirm your flight itinerary, and going along that, your accommodations, where you're staying if you have booked that ahead of time. And then, of course, you want to check into your flight the night before. The flight, we are flying from Paris to Venice. That is through EasyJet Airlines. That's something that you can actually check in, I think, 30 days ahead of time. I just checked in. I got an email from them. They're really good about emailing the information to you and to be sure and check in. And so you also, after you're done packing, you want to be sure and check your baggage weight. Certainly don't want to show up to the airport and find out that you're going to go over your weight and pay a fine for that. Again, EasyJet, we went ahead and paid for our checked bags because we knew that we'd be over I think it's a 23 kilogram. I can't remember how that converts to pounds, but I figured we'd be over that anyway. Who knows what we're going to buy in France. You want to personalize your luggage. Be sure and put your name and your address and your phone number and your email somewhere on your bag, if not both outside on a tag and also inside on a piece of paper. I was told actually by a friend of mine, they said to be sure and put your information on where you're staying, because otherwise, if you don't put that, they're going to just if your bag somehow gets lost or misplaced, if they find it and your trip's not over yet, they're going to send it to your house. They're not going to send it to where you're staying because they're not going to know where that is. So I went ahead and did that already. Hopefully we don't lose our bags, or they don't lose our bags. But if it happens, then at least they'll be able to know where to send them instead of back home, which isn't going to do me any good. Depending on where you're traveling and how long you're going to be gone, you may consider getting trip cancellation insurance and medical insurance. We actually didn't do any trip cancellation because we're using miles for this trip. We can reschedule our trip up to, I think it's 10 hours before we leave, and we just have to pay a minor fee to do that. It's not that big a deal. And then Airbnb, most of the places we're staying are flexible with their cancellation policies, and so we have, I believe it's 48 hours in advance that we can change our plans, cancel, and we don't get charged for that. My next thing that you should do is check your local destination, your weather, anything that's happening. You might register with the government agency. I'll have to double check that, and I'll put a link to that website below where you should register what countries you're going to be visiting. Actually, before you book your trip, you should look into that and make sure that there's no travel warnings or travel restrictions recommended to that country, because you don't want to obviously get kidnapped or killed when you are traveling. You want to enjoy your trip. You want to also be sure and call your bank ahead of time. You want to call your bank and notify them of your travel destinations. They'll have questions for you to answer depending on the bank institution itself. You want to call your credit card companies as well. You don't want to be without access to your money or your credit cards when you're on a vacation. And then you want to have a backup plan. I'm planning on taking 2 credit cards just to make sure if one doesn't work, or if I have any kind of issues where it gets cut off I have access to another account, of course. My husband is coming too, so we have cards between us, so it's not going to be a big deal, hopefully. But you also want to make sure we belong to a local credit union, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't have any issues with our debit card, because a lot of places we're going to be visiting, it's recommended that you pay in cash. You also want to leave your itineraries with at least one relative, maybe two, or a friend. Just make sure that they have all of your information on that so that they know when you're supposed to be gone and when you're supposed to be back, flights you're going to be on, and all of that information. Call your cell phone company too, just to make sure that there's not going to be any fees associated with your usage of your phone. We have Verizon, and they have 3 different plans to use that you can choose to use whatever works best for you for your home. Quite a few things to go over with that. Make sure that you have paid any bills ahead of time, your house payment, your utilities. You don't want to get anything shut off while you're gone, especially depending on the time of year that you're going. Insurance, car insurance, or anything like that, make sure you take care of that all ahead of time. Credit card bills, make sure you pay those definitely ahead of time so you don't get cut off while you're on your trip. Either forward your mail, depending on if you're going to be gone for a long time, or just hold your mail. You can go on the USPS.com website and schedule, I think it's up to 30 days in advance. You can schedule your mail to be held, especially if you don't have a lockbox or anything like that and you don't want your mail to get stolen. That would be bad. Newspapers, definitely have your newspaper held, because one sure way it's going to look like no one's home is if your newspapers are piling up at your house. Also, wash your clothing. Obviously, you're going to wash your clothes, I would assume, before your trip, but anything that you have left in your hamper at home, be sure and wash that. Even if you just throw it in the washer and then, put it in the dryer and leave it in the dryer, just so you don't have any smelly clothes when you get home. And along with that, you want to be sure and take out your garbage and have someone available to take your garbage out for you when you're gone. Of course, if you're only going to be gone for a week, it's probably not going to be the end of the world, but you're going to be gone for a couple weeks or longer, you're definitely going to want to have that gone, and you don't want that growing mold or anything like that. Also, do your dishes. Don't leave anything in your sink, even if you're going to be gone for 3 or 4 days. Throw them in the dishwasher, run the dishwasher. You don't want to have any kind of funky anything when you get back. Nothing you want to deal with or any weird smells. Also, clean your house. Get all that done. The last thing you want to do when you've been on vacation is to have to come home and clean up your house. Tidy it up at least a few days beforehand. Vacuum if you want, and dust, any of that kind of stuff. It's so nice to come home to a clean house. Clean out your refrigerator. Get rid of anything that's perishable. Again, you don't want to grow anything in your refrigerator. That would be awful. So be sure and go through your refrigerator as well. Store any valuables. Put anything in a home safe if you have that, or a safe deposit box, or somewhere where it's hidden in your house for security. For some reason, hopefully you don't get broken into. Make sure that you put your valuables in a safe place. Turn off your heater, unless of course it's in the wintertime. You probably wouldn't want to turn off your heater, but for us it's 80 degrees right here. We don't need the heat on anyway. Turn off the heater, turn off the air conditioner. We have a Nest thermostat that we can actually set it to away, so we'll do that. Turn your water heater off, or at least put it on low so it's not constantly running when you're gone. Be sure and lock all doors and windows, which goes without saying, but it's a good reminder. Also double check to make sure that they are all locked and closed, of course. Unplug all of your electronics. This is something that I'm really not good about doing, but it's a great reminder for me. I'll unplug my coffee pot, unplug, any kind of stereo equipment or television or anything like that. You would hate to have a power surge and have it be a problem when you're gone. Leave your house key with someone that can periodically check on your house. I have someone come by and check and make sure that I don't have any deliveries sitting outside waiting for somebody to steal. They'll check for, checking my plants and make sure that all of that is taken care of and everything is watered. Although I do take my hanging baskets and I put them down in our yard, and that way the our regular sprinkler system will go ahead and water that, and nobody really has to worry about that. Some other reminders are, if you're going to be gone for a while, to have your hair cut. And if you like to get your nails done, which I'm not a good example, but I do like my toenails to be painted. You'll feel better, especially when you're out of town. It'll just make you feel good when you're gone, to not have to worry about any of that. I usually do that a couple days before I leave. If you're going to be gone for an extended period of time, you might want to visit the doctor, make sure you're current on all of your shots, find out what requirements for the country or countries that you are visiting are going to be, because you don't want to get there and find out that you needed to have some sort of vaccination certificate. One thing that my husband and I have done, because we've been putting this off for a long time, is making a will. And so we have met with an attorney, and we are taking care of that before we leave. Not that we are planning on anything happening, but that's kind of how it goes. You don't plan on anything happening. We decided this would be a good time to take care of all of that and just be done with it. We don't have to think about it again. And you know, we're going to be gone for a couple weeks, but if you're going to be gone for a month or two or longer, you definitely want to have all that in place before you leave. One more thing, taking photos of your belongings, especially what you are taking, things that you are packing in your checked bag, just in case if for some reason it gets lost, if the airlines loses your bag, you have documentation of what was in there. So yeah, photos of your belongings, of what you're taking, would be super helpful. Takes you not very long. You're going to be packing anyway. Have anything that you would like to add to what I have mentioned, feel free to put it in the comments below. And also, I would really love to hear, especially since you're watching a travel checklist video, where you are traveling to or where your next trip is going to be. And if you don't have any travel plans, of course, that's fine too. Where is your next destination? Where is your dream vacation? I would love to hear from you. Go ahead and put it down below in the comments. I hope this video helped you and you found it useful. And if so, click the thumbs up button. If you would like to get more videos like this, click subscribe. I look forward to seeing you the next time. Take care and have great travels. Bye-bye.